Okay, folks, back again with the follow-up video. And right now, I have the Sega Genesis on. And like I said, I'm going through that HD scaler through RGB SCART here. And right now, I'm playing a game called Knuckles Chaotix, which is a 32X game. I know through the video, you're not going to see how great the color is. I mean, I could just tell right now. But let me tell you this. This is not emulation. I have not spruced up this video. This is just, recorded off a Galaxy S5. This is what the game actually looks like. And I don't know how sharp you guys can see it, but this game looks very, very crisp as a 32X game. The colors are very vibrant, and it pops out. And that's something I did not mention. The TV itself, the Vizio P series, because it's 4K and the pixels, are very, very tight together at 50-inch, it gives kind of like a 3D effect on pretty much anything I put on it. Wow, this looks really, really good. I'm telling you guys, you got to take my word for it. This looks a lot better than being, captured on a phone here. But yeah, it's taking the 240p signal, upscaling it to 1080p. The scaler does have options. And I'm sending it down to the Onkyo, which is down there, as you'll see. I have it named as Retro RGB. That's what I named the input. And it's playing an all-channel stereo. And this looks amazing. I mean, this is the Genesis, probably looking the best it'll ever will. I mean, it just looks awesome. You'll see like a little bit of dots on the bottom. That's something that the RGB scaler does. That's not what the Onkyo is doing. It comes and goes. And it's not just the Genesis, the Super Nintendo does that as well. But this does look pretty phenomenal. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see how beautiful the colors popping out. I mean, this is a Sega Genesis. I know the 32X is doing, some colors, but the backgrounds are the Genesis, and the character sprites are actually the 32X. The sound's a little bit better because, 32X had more channels and all that, but look at that pop. I mean, and there's no input delay. I don't know if I can try to play the game while I'm recording it, but that's the one thing about these Vizios is that they have no input delay. I went to a store. There's a store out here called Video Only. They're pretty good, and they let me test my PC on this stuff. And I tested out the Samsung, which didn't look as good as this, and had horrible input delay. Wow, that looks really good on the phone. And I just tell you guys, this just takes your breath away when you see it this clear. As you can see me in the reflection there. But I tried the Samsung out. The input delay was abysmal. It was really bad. And that was with a native 4K 60Hz signal. So then I tried an LG, which the LG is actually a really nice TV. The 4K LG TVs, they look really good. They look about as good as the Vizio. I looked them side to side. I was very impressed with the LG. The problem with the LG was its input delay was a little bit worse than this. Would it have been playable? Yeah, I guess so. It would have been better than the Samsung, that's for sure. But at the same time, it's like, well, why pay $300-400 more? We can just get a Vizio. Plus, another thing that the LG didn't have, it did not have a 1080p 120 hertz mode, which, some people are like, well, 120 hertz, who cares about 120 hertz? I mean, these consoles here are only 60 hertz, of course. Well, this is my third TV. I have another 50-inch in another room, and then I have a 70-inch, which I have my computer hooked up to. And there's certain games that I'd rather play in 1080p 120 hertz than 4K, and that's a whole nother discussion. But just the fact that this TV has an option for a 1080p 120 hertz, I like options. So this looks really, really crisp. I mean, this is the Sega Genesis really showing off here. Super Nintendo does look great, and it did look great, but I would have never thought that Genesis can have this kind of color output. Now, I know it's a 32X game, but it's still running through, the Sega Genesis right here. The light is on. I mean, I turn it off. That's what you get when you get the scaler. You get the no signal. But yeah, that's the Sega Genesis just doing its thing, and just to show you guys that I'm not making this stuff up. We could always do like a little Sega Saturn stuff here. It's number 2. As you can see, 1080p RGB SCART, and that's the 4-in-1 RAM card that I have for the Action Replay. And believe me when I say this, guys, this video cannot do justice. I mean, that, like, right now you see color bleeding with the Action Replay, but that top is pure like a purple mixed with red fuchsia type color. It looks a lot better. This is just, coming off a phone. So trust me when I say this, the RGB is real. Definitely a way to go. One thing I want to mention though, if you guys want to do this with the RGB converter, which, that's why I make these videos, for people to try this stuff out. The converter goes for about $50. And getting a cable for each system can be costly. They're about $20, but you have to keep in mind, with the RGB cables, they do audio as well as video. So that's pretty nice. And then you send them over the HDMI. And here's what an RGB cable looks like. They're kind of fat. The European people out there, they had this on their television. So they could have played these games back then in pure RGB SCART. So usually Europe is always shafted when it comes to video and whatnot, but this time they got the one up on us, that's for sure. But the one thing you'll notice is when you get this scaler, it's always going to put it in 16:9. So that's why I feed it down to the Onkyo and let the Onkyo do its thing, which I'll show you right here. You go to source setup, you go to picture adjust, and you can see here, well, it's hard to see, but you see how I have it in wide mode, 4:3, and then I put game mode on, so you can put edge enhancement, saturation for the colors and whatnot. But that's where the Onkyo comes in and does its magic before outputting it to the TV. And I find doing it this way is much, much better than just letting the scaler itself handle it. Well, anyway, that's RGB SCART. A good little preview of what you guys are looking into once you get the RGB SCART. And there are certain consoles that have RGB modes. Genesis one, Sega being another, and the Super Nintendo. There's other systems that can be modified for RGB SCART. As a matter of fact, my Super Nintendo is one of the few that allow component video. Yeah, that's right, component. I have component jacks on the back of my Super Nintendo that I modded myself. If you can see them back there. They did 3 videos and 2 audios. I did that on my own because I have a video encoder that does component video. And even with component video, it does look good. I sent the component video down to the Onkyo and it handled it. It saw it, it ran it, it was great. So that Super Nintendo does have component out with a 240p, but the RGB still looked better. The RGB is coming right off that CPU, and bam, you're getting the crispest video you can get out of these consoles. And there, like I said, there are several other consoles that do RGB. You just have to do a little research and find out which ones do. So if you are out there and you're trying to buy, oh man, I'd like to get an Atari Jaguar, I want to get a 3DO or something. If you can do the RGBs, do it, because it makes a huge difference in quality. All right, next up I will do the Sega Dreamcast in the following video, because the Dreamcast is its own beast. We'll talk about that later.